you guys are not the only group of people who had this idea to use magic to create food and water. By early afternoon, it's becoming widespread knowledge that the portals are not working. Nobody's getting in or out of the city at this point. And so there is a lot of magic being used to create food and water. Mahogany and Nath especially have put efforts together using some of their faction clout. You've got faded wizards selling blocks of FUD for exorbitant prices, and people are buying it. People in the ladies' ward sending their servants down to stockpile just pallets full of just nondescript gray matter.
I'm also going to put a PB out while it's still not super common knowledge to the other followers of Lou in the city. Because guess what? Level 1 spell slot, 10 people are fed for a day.
And yeah, like I was saying before,
find berries.
If you devoted every effort from every spellcaster in town, it still couldn't feed the entire city. You still couldn't meet everybody's needs. There's a lot of confirmation bias amongst PCs, but magic is not actually that common amongst the population. You guys, just the 5 of you guys probably represent a significant percentage of spellcasting.
Motherfucker in the city.
No, that was Diller.
Oh, what is she doing?
By the time Nath returns, and he looks especially frustrated because he's been putting out feelers. Does anybody have like large stores of food in town? And he's been just coming up negative all day. And by the time he gets back, by the time early afternoon starts rolling around, panic is starting to set in amongst a lot of the population.
Anyone who stores a lot amount of food in the city was probably storing it in a portal.
There's even talk that a lot of the factions are just going to start eating fur on rats. That's how gnarly it's getting.
Oh my god. It's ridiculous.
Only if they have the right spices.
The good news is, upstairs, Darkwood says that he has itemized the ingredients that Nath and Liberation have arranged for him. And with less than a day's work, he should be able to put together the chain of ownership of the stone and find out where it is now. In the meantime, Riot wanted to go back to Fred's tower and see if he could pick up the trail there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we splitting up anymore after this?
No.
Okay. So what's the plan to try to pick up this trail, Riot?
Riot knows that the spell locate objects exists, but can't cast it, so she was asking, does anybody else know it? And Mahogany said he did.
Okay.
Yeah, I super know that spell.
So
I would prepared to stay too.
So I guess we get to the tower and Riot turns to Mahogany and says, well, have at it.
Okay.
Yeah. So before we leave, I'll get a good description of it from Eldov.
Okay.
So that locate object will work.
And while that's going on, Kelian very pointedly pulls Liberation Nath aside and says, do not, under any circumstances, give him any spell components.
That ship has already sailed.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Those have already been delivered. You can try to sabotage it by stealing some without him noticing on your way out.
If you're worried that we all trust him, I mean, don't worry about that one.
I'm just saying Darkwood has never been weaker and more incompetent and inept, and you guys want to give him spell components. Why? Why?
Because he's going to fix this. He made this problem. He's going to fix it.
Oh, Liberation.
Look, at this point,
No, that's not the
I'm
real
out of
reason. The real reason is because Darkwood wants to be master of the city, so when Darkwood makes the city okay again so he can be master of it, then we can tell him to fuck off then.
look, I'm out of options. If you have 2 tons of wheat somewhere in the city, then I will gladly go and trade those for your spell components. But until you find that for me, this is my only choice.
Liberation, you are too nice for Sigil.
Alright, but yeah, let's locate it on up.
So the 5 of you and Liberation Succubus go back to Fred's tower. You guys had kind of left it in a sorry state, as I recall. I remember floors breaking and
Yep.
Flooding.
yeah, there was
I
flooding.
want to get the picture right in my mind, by the way. None of us are mentioning the fact that this succubus is here, right? Like, we're all just kind of
No,
accepting
right.
it.
This is just a thing.
You guys,
Yeah.
well, you used to have a
She's
cat
also
that
in
followed you
disguise.
anywhere, and now you have this leprous woman who you know is a succubus.
I've already offered to disintegrate her.
Somebody give me
Offer
a
still stands.
Somebody give me a group perception check. You can make this check. Actually, don't make it at advantage because there's a lot of distractions on the way.
Hey, Nick, make the check.
Okay. 21.
It strikes you as you reach the location of Fred's tower, which you know that the Dabus are going to go in and kind of renovate to repair all the damage that you and the Doomguard and Devils and God knows what did to it. And it occurs to you when you arrive, the entire journey this morning, from your temple all the way here, you didn't see any of the Dabus out and about.
I was going to ask about that. Okay.
They're never in the forefront. They're always in the background doing something, but you don't remember ever walking the streets of Sigil and not seeing one somewhere in the background doing some kind of maintenance
Yeah,
or
I feel
repair or
like-
construction work.
I feel like Riot would notice the absence of sound because they're always like hammering on something, right?
That hammering is usually
Yeah.
drowned out by the din of Sigil, all the people, which is still the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, it strikes you, especially by the time you reach this tower, like, yeah, the Dabus fixed this place up nice, and also I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
We haven't done anything with the Dabus in this campaign because I have no idea how to roleplay a Dabus.
Right.
You mean you
Yeah.
can't come up with a rebus off the top of your head really easy?
Let's not worry about what the lady's doing. If we get mazed, we'll know. Until then, it doesn't really matter.
Like, I would like to not get mazed, thank you. I've been in one. It kind of sucks.
And Mahogany shrugs. I don't know of any way to prevent the lady from mazing you if she wants to. So let's
Nothing
just do what
weird-
we were going to do anyway.
Yeah. Nothing we're doing is against the rules.
So who's casting Locate Object? Mahogany
Mahogany.
and Nath?
I'll let Mahogany handle it.
Okay.
Liberation
Right.
jerks a thumb back toward the temple, presumably where the oldest army is. Like, yeah, no, that's what happened last time somebody tried to go against, tried to do that. Tried to keep a lady from mazing him.
You had a good enough description of what this stone looked like from Eldov, that you cast the spell as though you were more or less familiar with it. It's definitely not within 1,000 feet of you when you arrive at the tower.
Yep.
And you're using it to find this specific stone. You're not using the alternate version that finds the nearest object of a particular
No,
kind.
this stone.
Okay.
If there's another labyrinthine stone, then too bad. We missed that one.
Definitely not within 1,000 feet of here.
I'm gonna go into the tower anyway,
Okay.
just to see, because even though I know it won't work, just to see if the infinite staircase portal works here.
Okay. Getting to the front of the tower, I mean, it's been fitted with a new, well, not new, but a scavenged door from somewhere and replaced, and it is locked.
Yeah, well, Riot's right, so now it's not.
You're knocking it?
Yeah.
Okay. And the door blows open, and currently the tower is unused. There are no furnishings inside. You see where new masonry has been placed over the floor where that big brass circular plate was. The second floor of the tower has likewise been repaired with stone, and there's a staircase leading spiraling up around the tower to the second floor from here.
All right, I'll go up there and see if any of those keys are still around.
I know there's nothing in the room anymore. It's unfurnished, unused. Not sure exactly by what mechanism the city decides who gets to use the tower, but you're pretty sure the Fated have something to do with it.
Is the arch where the portal used to be still there, or was that bricked up or something?
No, that's still there because it contained a portal, and the Dabus would not.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. But the keys, like the literal keys that were here, were the keys to that portal. If I'm remembering right.
That's correct. Go ahead and make me Make an intelligence check. I know we have portal sense as a skill, but I'm not sure how many of you have it.
I've got half proficiency in it.
Okay, well, yeah, go ahead and make an intelligence check, and you can add half proficiency.
11.
11. You don't sense a portal in the room. You know that there should be one here, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's closed by the lady. It could have shifted away. It could have left when the tower got rebuilt. A number of things could happen, but there's not an operable portal in this room at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bust, everyone. No portal here, as far as I can tell. No keys, no stone. We're just gonna have to let Darkwood do his thing.
Do we have a
Hey,
plan
Parker.
to do a sweep with the locate object spells?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick sweep, and while I'm doing that, I just had another thought, which I enjoy. The first time we went to the rat hole,
Yeah.
you described it as like a dank, essentially dirt box somewhere underneath Sigil,
Yes.
and you said it smelled of mildew.
Yes.
Would you say that mildew is a plant?
Not for this purpose, no.
If you really want to get there, I can teleport there. I just don't necessarily think that's the best use of our resources.
Yeah, I'll do a quick sweep.
Listen, we had like 40 sessions where you could have put a plant in that room at any point,
I put one in a few really dumb places.
right?
Yeah.
I've already established I put one outside of my house.
Okay. So what's the plan for sweeping? You guys have 10 minutes of locate object. I'm not sure how much.
I mean,
we figured out how much area you could cover doing this at one point.
no,
that was with Fly, not
I'm a
with
million
Arrow.
years past that
Okay.
because I cast Long Stride on myself and then I turn into an air elemental. Air elementals have a speed of 1 second here. D&D Beyond. 90 feet, so that's 100 feet.
Flying in Sigil. You know particularly because you've done it so often.
Don't go too high.
It can be dangerous because the center of the ring is extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
So here's my question to you.
Yeah.
You could cover more ground if you flirt with the center of the ring. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much risk is Mahogany willing to assume to cover more ground in the 10 minutes he's got?
Okay, so I'm gonna be real disappointing here, and I'm gonna say 1,
Okay.
and then I will tell you my reasoning.
Okay.
My reasoning is Mahogany is doing this to make everyone else, including Riot, happy, because the way he sees it, we wouldn't have gotten the oldest Barmy out to cast his spell if that wasn't the way it was meant to happen.
So here's how we're going to do it. You said a 1. So here's what I want you to do. I actually know in Sigil, like on the map, where the stone is.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take your pencil tool or whatever and draw a circle around where... Because right now, you guys are in the lower ward, kind of north of the foundry. You're like up here.
Yeah.
So go ahead and...
End to end, what's the width of this? Like, what am I getting in a 200-foot radius?
So the circumference of Sigil is about 20 miles. It's about 6.4 miles across. And it's a little over 1.5 miles in the center. So just point somewhere. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to abstract a little bit. Just circle a spot on the map. And I'm going to say that in that 10 minutes, you could conceivably do a quick search with your spell in that time, in that area. And if you're right, we can skip the whole Darkwood thing. And then you guys can laugh at him later.
Yeah, but that's no fun.
I'm glad out of character you have confirmed that it's in Sigil because we just be screwed if it wasn't.
Oh yeah, that'd be kind of a shitty published adventure, wouldn't it? Like, here, so step 1, all the portals lock. Step 2, the bitch is on Mount Celestia. Welp! Just shrugging emoji.
I feel like if anyone was going to get a handle on it, it would be somewhere in this area.
Just draw me a... Maybe not quite that big. Like, let's narrow down a little bit. You're saying a 1 risk, let's remember.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you're
by
gonna,
my math... Oh, go for it.
you're going to cover the distance between...
I'm going to do a quick bolt that way,
Mhm.
and then just, like, do with the rest of the time that.
Okay. And bear with me just one moment as I roll some Dice.
For reference, Nodal, by my math,
Yeah.
you zip up and down the short way across the ring, you can cover an area 512 feet, roughly 500 feet wide.
But we already know he's not doing that because he's assuming...
No,
Yeah, I don't know
level
what the
one
fuck that
risk.
means.
I'm just letting you know.
That sounds like math. I'm not interested. Not at work.
A lot of flyers have vanished forever trying to cut the portal of Sigil. And you do not get a ping on your spell searching in that
All right,
area.
didn't work.
So Mahogany comes back. So let me get... Nobody trusts Darkwood. Nobody thinks Darkwood's on the up and up.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Let's go down the list real quick for my own edification. What's the plan for the eventual, inevitable double cross? When the time comes, how is everybody going to handle Darkwood?
I'll go first. So Darkwood, the reason why he's in this state is because he spent like 20 years coming up with an elaborate plan for what he was going to do, and then got sucked into a horrible hell existence, and now he's like this.
Mm-hmm.
This Darkwood has had 300 years to come up with a plan. I'm thinking it's going to backfire even more spectacularly on him this time.
Okay. So you're not worried about it. You think it's going to...
I'm not concerned.
Okay. What about Riot?
Riot's problem is that she trusts Darkwood insofar as she believes him when she says he can fix all this. She doesn't trust him to actually do it. But
Is it
she
going
needs
to
to let it play. She needs to let it play out a little bit more, see what's happening,
Okay,
and then
that's
she'll
fair.
make a move. Once Darkwood has played his hand, then she can respond to that.
What about Liberation? Is Liberation distracted by his succubus companion?
Liberation muted.
Liberation is muted. Sorry. Liberation is of the opinion that Rowan Darkwood's had 300 some odd years to figure it out, or that, in that regard. Hopefully he's had some time to make a change of heart, and Liberation is very much inclined to believe that.
Well, that's what he's claiming. He's claiming that he wants to right the wrongs that he's done.
Yeah.
And you,
But if it should turn out that he is going to turn on us, then fist in the face, possibly a hand axe.
is Nath even
Liberation feels squirrely.
concerned about the Darkwood angle?
Hold monster, then teleport to the barracks, and then teleport back with 8 guys with man catchers.
And I'm sure Kelian doesn't have an opinion.
Once the double cross happens, bolt to the head.
Okay.
If that's going to even be possible.
So good news and bad news when you guys return back to the temple. The bad news is
Okay.
Darkwood says that he's begun the divinations using the ingredients you brought him. Now that Eldov's no longer beyond reach, which was his problem originally, he should be able to pick up the trail, and he's already started doing so. The bad news is that process is going to take about a day. The good
Okay.
news is not Factal Quran has gotten wind now that the portals are closed, and says that they're going to spring on Plan B.
Which is
Plan
That's
B.
the good news you said, Bricker.
This is the good news.
What's the plan B?
He says he can't tell just everybody. You all have to swear an oath that if you repeat what he's about to tell you to anyone,
Liberation steps up in front of the Factal Quran, holds up his right pinky.
Oh no.
and he grasps it with his own pinky, and he says, "There's no time for pinky wrestling right now. There's much more important matters to discuss."
Of course.
But he huddles you all in. And he
Okay.
says, "There's a way out of Sigil that's not a portal."
No, there isn't.
What?
And he says, and the Factal knows about it because it's a way that only the Chaos Men can use.
If you're about to tell us to drop off the edges of the ring,
No, of course not. That would be idiotic. Who would want to do a thing like that?
That
and
doesn't do me
Mahogany
any
looks
good.
right at him.
That doesn't do me any good. I can't trust Chaos Men to bring food and water back into the city.
He says, "Who
What's
cares
the
about
way?"
food and water? We're talking about getting the Factal out of the city safely."
Exactly.
Who are you? How have you infiltrated this discussion? Be gone! And he starts shooing Nath away from the group.
Take 5, Nath.
There's fish in this aquarium downstairs?
Yeah,
There-
go look at the pretty fish.
There are. Nath's just going to start spearing exotic fish.
No, wait.
And the Fate Quran continues. He says, "In an infinite multiverse, the most improbable things happen every so often. They have to. By definition, events that are impossible are impossible. That means everything that's impossible happens once every minute amount of time. And what better way to make such actions happen than to bend the very will of chaos? This is a trick we have had for many, many years." He looks very proud of himself as he's explaining this.
Liberation claps him on the back.
He says
Is that
that
what the Chaos Men are good for?
are they good for anything? He says that the Factal and his handlers are already, at this point, with the portals being closed, are already going to be putting this plan into action. So your job is going to be to deliver him to a place that he has pointed out in the ladies' ward, and to make a big show of it. He wants everybody to, everybody needs to know who you are escorting and why. The idea being that distraction will give the real Factal time to slip out of the city with his weird chaos magic.
Do you want us to be your bodyguards, or you want to go there in chains?
And he thinks very hard for a moment. He says, "Is there any way we can do both?"
Yeah.
Liberation glances back to his pack. It might hurt a little bit.
All right, I just have one question, real quick. Why do we care about doing this?
And he says,
Because then
"Go ahead."
Karan will owe me.
Why do I care if Quran owes you?
Because because Karan is the last Factal left in Sigil. That's got to count for something.
Because if we want to get off Sigil, this is our only way.
Do we want to get off Sigil?
The alternative is to stay here while bloody murder happens in the streets. I don't know when or where the lady will reopen the city, but there might not be a lot left of it when she does.
And the Fate Quran points out that Chaos Men are stand-up people, and they're always as good as their word. Why wouldn't you want to help them?
Liberation claps him on the back again. See? I like the cut of his jib.
Nath, what are you doing down in the aquarium?
Please don't say spearing fish.
It's Nath on
I hope he said spearing fish, but he's muted.
Sorry, I unmuted myself and muted myself. How many people can I feed with these fish potentially?
Oh my god.
I mean, you could host a decent-sized fish fry, but Less than 100?
We're talking like about a less than okay. And how much do I think the fish are worth?
Unless you're proficient in a skill that would be related to that, then you have no idea.
Unless you have a fish fire, sears copper pieces.
So normally when I go to an eatery and get a piece of fish, it's maybe, let's say it's 2 copper. Each of these fish could probably feed about 5 people, so they're probably worth about a silver each. So if I leave 5 gold on the table, I could probably just take all of them.
So how are you collecting these fish? Like, what are you physically doing?
I was just thinking. I haven't actually done this yet. Let me see if I have any good way to do this.
As you're contemplating this, one of the acolytes, one of Yashnar's underlings, comes down and asks what you're doing.
Oh, I'm thinking about using the fish to feed people.
And you seem to have caught him off guard for a moment. But then he looks upstairs. Looks behind him, makes sure that nobody's behind him. And he steps forward, and he slips a piece of paper into your hand.
I'll open it up and unfold it.
You open it up, and it's a hastily scrawled address in the ladies' ward. And you look down at it, and you look back at the acolyte, he just holds his fingers to his mouth.
I'll nod. I'll walk back upstairs. I have some business in the other ward. You said this will take a day. Do you have any other plans, or should I meet you back here tomorrow?
The address that he gave you in the ladies' ward is conveniently very close to where the fake Quran wants to go. Funny how that worked out.
I have a quick question for you, Brick Rat.
Sure.
How close to the edge of this circle is that address?
How close to the edge of this circle is it?
Yeah.
No, not very close. Because this circle's very close to where a lot of the fighting was going down.
Sure.
Hey, can I ask something out of character real quick?
Yes.
Secret influence in character, do we know what that is?
You do not. You have no idea.
So when I say that, that's a metagame construct of me saying I want something cool to happen.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I would have no idea that this is related, so...
No, you have no idea.
Yep.
So who's game for escorting the fake Quran to this place and making a big show of it?
Riot loves making a big show of things.
I mean, sure, why not, right?
You're going where?
We're taking this guy in chains to the ladies' ward. Taking Quran.
I'll go with you.
I feel like I'm the only person concerned about Duke Darkwood upstairs. We've just given him spell components.
Do you want to go look at him for a while? Would that?
Do you want me to put him in some sort of extra-dimensional space and throw away the key until we get back?
Do you want to stand guard over him?
No.
As far as standing guard, Cube is more than capable of taking care of that.
Okay.
Yeah, Cube is...
I don't know, Cube. Cube, he has level 20 in every class.
Yeah, but he's an old, decrepit man now, so... Still say we should just put a bolt in his neck, and this probably all ceases to happen. All the portals open back up. Lady loves us all, or whatever she does. She'll flay us. Who knows?
If the lady wanted him dead, she'd just flay him.
Yeah.
That's not going to solve the problem.
Explain to me whether flaying or maze imprisonment in a maze is the penalty. I don't quite understand.
Flaying is the worst
what you
penalty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except sometimes when it's not.
So we should be somewhat heartened that no one's been flayed yet, as opposed to mazed.
Well, we don't.
As far as you know.
We don't.
Yeah.
And while you're undertaking this, 5 other fake Qurans in 5 other parts of the city are going to be taking similar cross-sigil journeys, just to try to keep the Harmonium distracted.
Right.
So, right, you're putting him in chains?
Yeah.
And pretending to be his bodyguards?
Yes.
Okay.
So everyone's going to assume we're Chaos Men.
Yep.
They're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Actually, Riot is going to cast Seeming on the whole group to make us all Quran as well. I mean, resist that or don't. It's your choice.
I mean, Mahogany doesn't give a shit. He can just alter himself to look like Karan.
So we have...
I really like the idea of someone seeing through the illusion on Mahogany and, like, pierces it, and then on the other side it's just Karan again.
So you got a seeming making you all look like Karan, and Mahogany on top of that is using also alter self to make him look like Karan.
Yeah.
Nath, are you adding anything to this magic smorgasbord?
Nope.
Let me get a group perception check. One of you can make the roll.
Do we want to let me do it again?
Actually, I'm going to make it because I'm going to
Okay.
cast a spell before I make it,
Go ahead.
which I like to call Cadence. And when I cast this spell, it's a level 9 spell.
What spell is it, actually?
Well, give me 1 second here. It's a level 9 spell. It makes it so that for the duration, I can't be surprised and have advantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws.
What's the name of the
And
spell?
other creatures have. It's Foresight.
Okay.
The spell I'm casting is Foresight.
Why didn't you just say that?
Because I'm casting Cadence. I'm getting in tune with the Cadence of the Plains.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've earned the right to rename spells. Riot can do it because she's a bard. I'm disappointed that Mahogany has names for his spells. So who are you bestowing this to? Yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you still have the hummingbird you got this feather from? Because Nath is hunting small defenseless animals.
I have a nice stick that I cast spells from. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and make that perception check. You can use the benefit of foresight.
Yeah. Glad I had that.
Mm-hmm.
16.
What path are you guys taking to get to the ladies' ward? You guys are starting down here somewhere, and you need to make your way up here somewhere.
Well, he wanted us to be as ostentatious as possible, so I would imagine the most public route.
Yeah, no point in going through the hive.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just go west and then we make our way.
Coming into the bazaar, here's what your perception check bought you. So you're coming around a corner, and you guys have been making this big show, this big parade of Qurans. One of them is in chains, being marched through the street. One of them actually looks like Quran, regardless. Mahogany, you hear up ahead. It sounds like one of these renegade hardhead patrols. One of the ones that have teamed up with the group calling themselves now the Sod Killers. And the part of the conversation you hear is, we got word that they left out of the clerk's ward, somewhere near to the fest hall, traveling west. You get the sense that they're talking about one of the other Quran groups, and they haven't seen you yet. It looks
Well,
like
the whole point is to be ostentatious.
looks
Yes,
like
the Liberation shouts out at him, "Hey, you talking about us? Because we're all Quran, you know."
And there's 6 of these guys, and they look like they're about to set out in that direction, take the chance to capture the last factal in Sigil. And they see 6 Qurans, 1 in chains. Let's go ahead
Wibbly
and
bibbly wibbly bibbly.
roll some initiative.
Wait, is the succubus also Quran?
Sure.
Yeah. The succubus is not taking an initiative action, though.
Hey, Nick, as the relative expert in what's an ability check, would you say that
Yes.
initiative
Absolutely.
is an ability check?
Yes, rolling initiative is an ability check. It's a dexterity check.
So you get that at advantage.
Riot.
14.
I'm sorry, Quran.
14.
And Quran.
I feel like it should be the other way around.
12.
Ron in parentheses Riot.
Oh, I took screenshots. Why did I do that?
Once we get to Mahogany, it's Quran parentheses Quran parentheses Mahogany.
And Quran.
That is a 13.
13. And Nath.
Quran acts at 15.
I'm assuming because in Nath's lawful goods, when his heart of hearts, he's never Quran. And Quran.
19.
19. So yeah, you come around the corner and you start shouting at them, "Hey guys, look at us! We're all Qurans! 7 Qurans marching down the streets here." It looks like they were about to set out in the direction of the fest hall. They'll follow up on this lead that one of them got. And when they see you coming, they all draw their weapons. They're armed with swords and pikes. These are your standard issue, like, hardhead mooks. These guys will be not very difficult to put out of commission. On one hand, you can easily just kill them, steamroll them, whatever you need to do. On the other hand, they have been doing bad things. These are the renegades. These are the guys who are teaming up with the sod killers. So the question is whether or not you feel bad about killing them, or do you want to find some other solution? And that's where we come in on Mahogany.
Okay. I'm going to cast... Shit, I wish I had taken that spell. Fuck it. Let's just knock them out.
With what?
Let's go with a, haven't classed this one in a while. A, Shillelagh.
Okay.
Let's just whack them.
Just whacking one of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and roll to hit.
I like to imagine that,
That's a yes. 4 air.
Wait, what AC did you hit?
26.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. How much damage?
That's 10 bludgeoning magic.
Okay. So Karan takes his magical shillelagh and darts forward and cracks one of them upside the head. Brings us to Nath. Are you trying to deal non-lethal damage when you attack?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, well, Nath, you're up.
Let's just bubble all of them.
Bubble them.
Yep. Wall of Force.
Wall of Force.
Mahogany's on the outside. They're all on the inside.
Man, Karan knows a lot of spells.
That's Nath. He's just seeming to look like Karan.
And that should pretty much be that.
Just putting the
I'll
hemisphere.
get a patrol. Yep, it's there for 10 minutes. I'll get a patrol to come and sweep these guys up.
Can you hear anything in or out of the hemisphere?
That's not just... The spell doesn't say.
In that
That's up to
case... Okay. What are you doing after you put up that hemisphere?
Alright, well, they're walled. If you want to continue, I'll get someone to clean this trash up.
Talking about his own faction like that. Brings us to Karan. Don't blame me if this is confusing. This wasn't my idea. Riot, you're up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can cast spells into a wall of force, right?
Believe it blocks line of effect?
Nothing
But I
can
don't
physically pass through the wall. It's immune to all damage.
Yep.
Can't be dispelled by dispel magic. You can hit it
That's
with
fine.
disintegrate, but other than that, no. Nothing can get into the in or out.
But it says nothing physically. So, like, I couldn't put a bolt of flame in there, but magic can still pass through, right?
I'm working into something that magic is physical. Because you're creating a flame or a lightning bolt or a
I'm
whirlwind
not doing any
or
of those things.
claw shrimp.
Nope,
or...
none of those things.
Okay, what are you doing?
Riot is going to, like, press her face, smear her face right up against the wall of the edge, and shout, "Brothers, let us feel the joys of chaos!" and cast confusion into the wall.
Cast confusion. Okay.
Confusion seems very unphysical.
Yeah, that's why I don't. It's just like a spell, right?
It's a wisdom saving throw, yes?
It is a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. And I'm looking for a 19.
Yep.
I have 1 pass and 5 fails. So the
Well,
question
good
to you
luck with that.
is, which one would you prefer pass? One of the harmoniums or one of the sod killers?
One of the harmonium.
Okay.
I hate the sod killers more.
That's actually surprising. Okay. And then what are you doing? Staying there with your putting them on the glass,
No,
as it were?
I dance over and off and away.
Okay. Liberation.
Liberation starts babbling about cheese. And
Really getting into it.
yep. Liberation starts babbling about cheese as he walks past,
And-
following Karan.
Karan, who's still in chains, I mean, he's having this very coherent conversation with you about cheese.
Oh yeah, no. Like,
What
I
about-
prefer Gouda myself.
What about Kelian?
Can't shoot him,
Can't.
Kelian.
I
Can't shoot 'em.
Kill them. I can't kill them. Why won't you let me kill them?
Because you roll really bad on your initiative rolls.
You let me deal with that.
So what are you doing?
What can I do?
No, I'm not playing your character. You tell me.
You can join the conversation about cheese.
Kelian pulls out a cigarette, starts puffing.
Okay.
Doesn't actually light it, just
That's not cheese. That's not cheese at all.
Inside the wall of force, I mean, you see the majority of these guys bumping into each other or standing, staring off into space, drooling. One of them still seems to have his wits about him, miraculously. And he pulls out a whistle, and there's a very shrill sound. And then up in front of you, you see a second patrol start running in to heed the call. And they see 7 Qurans, some of which are dancing, some of which are smoking, some of which are in chains talking about cheese. Mahogany, you now have the second patrol ahead of you. You don't know how many there are. You just see the first couple of them coming around the corner looking at the whistle. In the direction of the whistle.
Okay. Well, I actually do have this spell, which I was planning on using for humorous effect, but it looks like that dream is dead. And I'm going to cast Entangle.
Okay.
oh, it's gonna suck with Razor.
Where are
Oh,
you?
yeah.
I'm casting it on the patrol.
So, like, in the 20-foot area where they're coming around that corner?
Yeah.
Okay. And no, this spell will not cause Razorbind to grow. That would be that'd make the spell much more powerful than it is. Although I can see like a third, maybe second level version of this spell doing that. Alright, so strength saving throw. And what's my spell save DC?
Your spell save DC is... I'm sorry, I don't cast spells very often. 16.
16. I've got 2 passes and then some number of fails, but you don't know how many because you don't know how many guys are around the corner yet.
Alright.
Would you rather that Harmonium or Sod Killers fail this check?
I would rather Harmonium fail the check, because I imagine Sod Killers don't have a whistle.
Okay. Oh, well, this one did.
No, that was a
Oh, no,
Harmonium.
Harmonium. Yeah, that's right. Oh, they all have whistles. Are you moving or staying put there?
I'm staying put here. Waiting for my
Alright.
freaking allies to go.
So, Nath, you see the second patrol start coming around the corner. These grasping vines come up out of the ground as Quran speaks the magic words. And several of them become snared, pulled down, and are restrained. But you see 2 more who pass the save coming around the corner, and one of them's wielding a planter man catcher.
If I move 30 feet, can I see how many of them there are total?
Yes,
Can I get a better
absolutely.
view around the corner? How many are left
Uh,
that haven't been snared?
are you trying to engage with them, or are you just trying to get a better look?
First, I want to move to see how many there are.
Another patrol of 6, 4 of which have been snared, the other 2 of which are coming around the corner. One of those guys has a man catcher.
Okay, so there's 12 total.
Yeah, 2 different patrols.
So that is, conveniently enough, the maximum number on Mass Suggestion. So I will cast Mass Suggestion and give them the order that I suggest you all put down your weapons and turn yourselves in at the barracks. So they all get to make DC 18 Wisdom saves.
Okay. I'm going to have to roll twice because I don't have that many dice. Looking for 18s.
Yep.
I have 2 passes. Who would you prefer to pass this check?
The two of the ones that are entangled.
Okay. So the 2 that are coming around the corner, you want them to be suggested.
Yeah, them and all the ones in the bubble.
And your suggestion is to go turn themselves in at the barracks?
To throw down their weapons, go turn themselves into the barracks. Yep.
And those who are able, who aren't entangled or confused, do throw their weapons down, start moving in that direction. Riot.
I'll drop the bubble as they start leaving.
Okay, and yeah, well, those guys are all confused except the one who blew the whistle.
Yeah.
Riot.
Riot shouts out, "Balloons! Tell everyone, get the word out! The key to every portal in Sigil is a balloon!" And then it keeps marching down the street.
Okay, liberation.
She's lying, or he's lying, or something. It's really provolone. Keep marching.
Kelian.
Yeah, let's march.
Okay. And many of these soldiers have thrown down their weapons and are starting to move towards the barracks. And in the chaos, in the yelling and confusion about cheese and whatnot, Riot.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of marching next to you, you realize that the Quran you're leading, you're just dragging empty chains along the cobblestones. He's gone.
Okay. Would I have not noticed this happening? Riot's passive perception is pretty bonkers.
You're not sure when it happened. There were entangles, there were spells, there
Yeah.
were whistles. You were yelling about balloons.
Yeah.
1 minute.
Can
Can you make what?
I make a perception check to see if I can see him?
You're going to look for him? Yeah, go ahead and make a perception
Yeah.
check.
Okay. It's a 28.
And you search the area pretty thoroughly, and not only do you not see him, you don't see any trace of him. You don't see footsteps in the mud, in the ground, except for the ones that you guys made coming up. The manacles he was wearing around his wrists are not open. He's just evaporated.
Huh.
There he went.
Well, we got a place to go to. We still got a duty to uphold. Let's keep going.
Okay. Nath, are you going to break away with the group to investigate your address, or are you going to take everybody there?
Riot, can you drop the seeming on just me?
I doubt it. Let me check to make sure, but I don't think so.
Wibbly bibbly wibbly bibbly.
Spell lasts for the duration unless you use your action to dismiss it sooner. So no, I don't. Listen, if you should have said something when we left, you could have resisted the spell.
Well, I didn't want to be roughed up by patrols when we're moving through the. Look, it's not. It causes a lot of trouble to walk around with a badge in the city in some parts right now. It's fine to be Quran though. I'm going to go investigate another lead.
Good luck, Kron. We're all rooting for you.
Yeah, Karan.
I'm not rooting for him.
Karan. You gotta support yourself, okay? 'Cause if you don't support yourself, nobody will.
Nath.
Mm-hmm.
What you come across is just a little kind of unassuming house. It's not a large manor house the way a lot of people in this area of Sigil live. It's a small stone and wood house with a considerable garden area in front of and around it. And then the iron fence beyond that, because it still is Sigil. The fence is broken off its hinges. A lot of the garden, I mean, it wasn't a food garden, flowers and things, but nonetheless, it's still been picked clean and trampled on. But the house itself looks intact and unbreached.
I'll move inside to investigate.
Hey, door's locked.
Is there I mean, does it? The house is intact, so it's relatively secure. Like, there's not just I can't just slip in through a window somewhere.
Slip around and try opening the windows.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of the windows are shutter types, where there'd be a latch on the inside, which means you're not going to be able to unlock them from this side, but you can probably break one if you wanted.
What about the second story windows?
No second story to this house. One story building.
Okay.
Which in itself is kind of strange.
Don't break the windows. You're going to increase crime in this area of the city.
Yeah, I'll just find something to pry one of the shutters open.
Okay. And you hear the latch inside break as you find something to pry the window open with. And you open the shutters, and it's a small house with a very simple layout and not anything very ostentatious in the way of furnishing. It looks unoccupied at the moment. You don't hear any noise inside, and you don't see any lights.
I'll put light on my staff, and then I'll cast Detect Magic as a ritual.
Okay.
And I'll close the shutter behind me. So, 10 minutes later.
Okay, cast Detect Magic. Let me figure out what it is you detect.
Magic.
Probably not. I think Conjuration, but I've learned in 5th edition to always double check, because some spells have changed school. Going around the house with your Detect Magic up, you find a sparse pantry with just some basic sundries in it. But there's a cellar door in the back, and there is faint Conjuration magic radiating from it.
Open it up, shine the light down.
And you don't need to, because when you open up the door, light radiates out from inside, and it's sunlight. It's soft and warm, and looking down, you see a vast open space, much larger than could conceivably be contained in the basement of this house. And it is packed with food. Fresh vegetables, curing meat, a crystal clear pond. I mean, the space down here is made to look like an arborean glade.